Hello everybody, and of course welcome to the ESPL Weekly Series number 6 Finals. This time around we are looking at the Mongols on the dire side versus SNA +4, also known as the Wild Witch Doctors. So usually around this time I'd introduce my co-caster Mito, say that he's lovely, handsome and all that, talented, what have you, but it appears that Mito is at the very least not here. And at the very most, probably having an extended break and doesn't know that the game has started. But nonetheless, he should be coming back none too shortly, so you'll just have to contend with myself, Briefcase, in the meantime. Oh, and unfortunately enough, as was just mentioned in the chat by Sydney Crestani, this game is indeed not on Dota 2 Lounge. Not too sure exactly what's happening with that, but if it's not up there yet, it's not going to be up there later. It's already started, so sorry about that, but at the very least we have the residuals staying in, and thank you so much for tuning in and staying for this final game. Oh, so I guess let's get right into it, right off the bat. Man, SNA +4, they know exactly what they want to go for. They are going, at least off of the bat, what looks to be a very scary push strat. AA right off of that, and Invoker being banned out by SNA +4. Just making sure that those two heroes aren't available, and of course if SNA +4 is going for this very quick, very punchy, all-in kind of push strat and trying to get this game done quickly, because I do know they have another tournament to play up fairly shortly. If that's the way they want to play this and that's the way they're going, they have picked two of the best heroes to ban out, of course. Ancient Apparition really does put a damper into any push when you don't have mech or healing available from Chan or Shadow Shaman or Shadow Priest or anything like that. Not to mention Nyx Assassin, very good at splitting up those heroes, wrapping around, killing the supports that do a lot of good in those pushes as well. And of course, Quas, Wex, Invoker, absolutely amazing at stalling pushes, putting them to shame, and really just dooming anybody from continuing to push. And it looks like the Mongols, they have a feel for exactly what SNA +4 is indeed doing. It looks like Mito might have just joined me. Mito, are you here, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. Just went for a quick drink.
Yeah,
brushed up a little. That's
what I'm talking about. So, right off the bat, it looks like SNA +4 going straight up into that. We are gonna push, we're gonna push hard, and you're gonna hate it. And then the Mongols, I think they realized that that's probably what SNA +4 was going for. They ban out the Lycan, they ban out the Pugna. Obviously the Shadow Priest wasn't banned out basically in response to anything, but nonetheless, they ban out the Lycan and the Pugna, so that's going to at least hurt SNA +4 a little bit, but they obviously still have a huge pool of heroes to pick from, and it really just comes down to who's the Mongols going to get themselves for this anti-push, because right off the bat, clearly SNA +4 wants to take this early, quick, get a lot of map control early on as well.
Oh yeah, well, Keeper of the Light would be great to fill in their lineup against the counter push. Seems like SNA +4, they really want to rush this. Understandably, they have a tournament in an hour, but if the Mongols go for Keep of the Light and run Naga as a full-on carry, it's gonna be hard to push.
Reserve time.
Yeah, so Mongols, they can easily play a 4 Protect 1 and just let the Naga farm up. And that would be the ideal choice to drag the game as long as possible. Just let the Naga Siren farm up. All three heroes from SNA +4 are fragile. Once the Radiance comes out on Naga Siren, it's truly unstoppable. But as we've seen so far, the Mongols, they're pretty happy to run a support Naga as well. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I would much prefer Naga to be in a core role.
How many muches?
As many as possible.
As many muches as possible, I hear you. Well, it seems like the Mongols, they are taking an oddly long time to decide who to pick up, and doesn't look like it's going to be a Naga Siren carry anymore, my friends. So sorry to tell you.
I don't like this decision that much. Not only because aside from a personal preference, but Luna doesn't offer that much counter pushing. Yeah, like now you're just dealing with two heals, Enchantress as well as the Juggernaut. So.
I mean, they know that SNA is going all in push. They mentioned that they do have a tournament quite quick, so understandably they can go for this kind of all in, sort of cheesy, but not really, because it is valid, of course, as well. And I mean, really, SNA +4, their lineup, despite looking like a pretty scary all in push strat, it's not, because if they do need to transition, you can have carry Enchantress, which will eat Luna fairly nicely alive for a little while there. Naga Siren will fall, and you do always just have Nature's Prophet available to constantly be annoying. And right now, the Mongols don't even have an answer for him, really.
Yeah, no. Mongol's lineup so far, they've got nothing to stall a push. Naga Illusions take a little bit to come online. Visage, what's he gonna do against a heavy pushing lineup like this? The Mongols, the last to pick, has to be counter pushing heroes. Magnetar's not bad, as a matter of fact. They have the follow-up damage to come in through Luna as well as Visage. If anything doesn't work out, then they can always bail the Naga Siren song. So, thinking in terms of heroes like Puck and Magnetar, crowd control, both good at defending towers as well. You have the Shockwave from Magnetar and you have the Illusory Orb from the Puck. The silence can always be devastating for A+4.
I feel like Darkseer, he sort of falls into that vein, you know what I mean? He sort of counters pushes, he sort of deals with them. But he doesn't deal with them very well until he's, you know, level 11, he's got wall, high levels in vacuum, and he can make sure he can surge himself out of there, and it just doesn't feel like the Mongols is at all prepared to deal with the push that SNA +4 is going to start dealing out at about, you know, the 12 to 15 minute mark. Juggernaut Ward, Enchantress heal, Shadow Shaman ult, Nature's Prophet Trents, and I don't know who SNA +4 is going to pick up last, but they don't. It doesn't even really matter. They have still quite a lot possibilities, and they've taken out some of the best anti-push in the game. Obviously, Coddle is still in there, but maybe SNA just doesn't care about Coddle too much.
Yeah. Well, running a mid-solo Luna, not so bad as well. But Mongols, aside from the Darkseer, they need some form of proper initiation. Oh, and
there you go.
There we go. SNA, they needed the initiation, and yeah, they picked up the Storm Spirit. So now they've got a great pushing lineup, and if you try to defend behind the towers, the Storm might just make a go at you. They do have a lot of follow-ups in this lineup as well. Omni Slash, Nature's Wrath, etc. So, that being said, Mongols, they don't have much to deal with the Storm Spirit either.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, not so much, really. They have an Ensnare, which of course doesn't do much, and there's the Puck. That'll help them at least a little bit, but I am so scared for the Mongols right now when it comes right down to it. Honestly, it's just SNA's lineup is so tremendously scary to deal with, especially with that early push that they can bust out, that I just don't know how long the Mongols will be able to last. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but in the meantime, let's get into who's actually playing who on the Mongols. We're going to have Masquerade as this Darkseer, Paxa as the carry. Once again, this time Luna, Sanke going to be this Puck, Storm as the Naga Siren, and it looks like Huntsman, MGL, going to be this Visage. Mito, please take SNA +4.
Yep, so on SNA +4 we have a Jungling Enchantress. Seven Eve's gonna be playing as the Juggernaut carry. Bri gonna be on a support Shadow Shaman. Ooh, there's a lot of interesting background for the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, a lot of interesting
like
particle effects going on for him right there.
Yeah. Ash gonna be playing as a mid-solo Storm, getting pulled a little bit. And finally we have the offlane Ix Mike gonna be playing on the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how these early parts of the game will go, because I think that's actually going to dictate a lot of what's going to be happening. And obviously if the Mongols get off to an early start, they're going to have a much easier time shutting down these pushes, but I don't know, even just having Shadow Shaman and Juggernaut together in a lane, that's scary enough to net a few kills and work out quite nicely just in that way. So I don't know. I suspect the Mongols might just abandon the bottom lane entirely, let Juggernaut do his thing, and probably get in, get some early damage on this tower and what have you, because I don't really see what they can do to stop it at the moment.
So mid lane, Puck gonna be up against the Storm Spirit. Ash starting out with a much better block, and ooh, this is gonna be tough.
Almost too good.
Yeah, it's a little too much. Now the next two creep wave is going to push out in favor for Sankey. Right away, Masquerade decides to abandon the bot lane, and I like this choice. There's not very much you can do to the Juggernaut, but at the same time, leaving these heroes who need levels for that mid, like for the push.
IX Mike, he's
that's
just
kinda
staying top.
dangerous.
He's being so ballsy. I don't know why. Ensnare, Grave Chill, can't actually polish him off. Paxa has not gotten Lucent Beam, but he was just taking pot shots, and I don't know what he was doing. He just stayed so long there.
No idea, and he still doesn't want to use his. Well, I'm sorry, just needed to clear my throat a little bit right there.
It's all right.
But he is using the Treants to find a little bit more space. But I don't know. This choice for Masquerade, he's keeping himself safe and he's getting some farm. But is it really the right call to leave bot lane completely uncontested? Letting the supports have such a great time. Look at Bri, he's just triple pulling all over the place. Every passing minute, I feel like the time is kind of ticking for the Mongolz before they have to face up against the heavy pushing.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, you just gotta, and I think this is a problem that's arising in and of itself. IX Mike, he's doing A-okay. He's actually pulling into this camp. He's gonna be able to leech a nice amount of experience, because really, especially if you're going for this kind of very quick and early push strat, if you're a Nature's Prophet, you want levels more than anything. Obviously, gold is good, but those levels are very, very important to you. And right now, you actually have, for the SNA +4, you have almost 4 heroes playing as if they were all doing solo. Sonke now, he wants to get this. Oh, it's actually before the 3 minutes. He's going to be getting this bottle pretty much for free. Llama, what are you doing? Hiding? Illusory Orb to follow up. Can he get the last hit? Does indeed. Ush can't quite get there in time. Sonke now might give up his life, though. They need to enchant him, slow him down a bit, but a beautiful play out of Sonke, and at the very least, that's gonna hurt Ush in the mid tremendously, comparatively. It's just gonna do a huge amount of work. IX Mike falls up top to that Soul Assumption and Ensnare combo that they have been running before, and it's working out quite nicely for them. But like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by a nice little Sonke courier kill. Basically, you on SNA +4, you have all 5 heroes getting pretty much solo lane EXP. Juggernaut's level 4, Bri's level 3 is a little bit lower. SNA is at level 3 as well, but then you also have Ush at level 4, and you have IX Mike, who did just die. He's level 4 too, so everybody's getting their levels. Nobody's under-leveled, and that's going to help them once they start to get these big pushes in as well. And as you can see, Juggernaut going straight for more points in the healing ward. That is clearly what they want to do. Oh, once again, IX Mike. Just being caught out, not even having to use Soul Assumption that time around. And yeah, with one clapping tomato, they're just going to start pushing right away, obviously getting even more points into Ether Shock just to make sure they can clear these creep waves as fast as possible. 7 Neves though, 7 Neves, however you want to say it. 7 Eves is, as far as I know, the proper way to do it. It's just, he doesn't have enough mana for a healing ward. I feel like they could really use it, but they're just going to take these early towers now, very early towers, and try and basically use that early advantage to propel them to victory. Ush in a bit of trouble, not quite level 6, and Mongolz playing very nicely, despite this kind of really scary, constantly pushing, early tower getting lineup that SNA +4 is running. The Mongolz are responding very nicely. They're still picking off Storm when they know he can't get away. They're making sure that IX Mike doesn't have a good time alone in the top lane, and now it looks like Bri almost does find a Huntsman, but because of those kills, Mongolz is actually, are they leading in experience? They are indeed. They were a little bit behind before, but because of those kills and the pickoffs they're getting, 3-0 right now, they're actually leading in experience overall, and as far as levels are concerned, they're actually winning out on that as well, just in general. So, I mean, SNA
like just now
doing not bad, but
now the Doxia could have easily defended the tower. 7 Eves already popped all his mana to clear the creep wave, and before the Furion TP'd in, he could have put the Iron Shell on the opponent's creeps instead. It just seems like A little bit more could have been done. And
Oh,
Ash
now
admit he's in
Ash.
so much trouble.
Once again, just not level 6, and as soon as you're not level 6 and you see more than one hero on you as Storm, you know you're pretty much hooped over and all. And Sonke absolutely abusing that as well. I mean, he's level 6, he doesn't even really need to use Dream Coil there if he didn't want to, but Mongolz, I think they're playing terrifically. I was really worried for them, maybe that they wouldn't get a good start, because so many times early push lineups. Ush, once again, seems to not care, or just with reckless abandon going in on these things. Does use his magic wand, not going to be enough, and it almost just looks like SNA, they don't seem to be really, I don't know, caring as much as I would normally see them right now. SNA trying his darndest now to slow down Huntsman, but the Mongols just playing terrifically as well. A little bit of carelessness, it looks like, coming out of Wild Witch Doctors right now.
So after that initial push, they've kind of came into a halt, and it feels like Mongolz, the gold lead. They just need to be able to hold off the mid game, and late game is looking very promising for them.
Oh yeah, I mean, what do you say about a match like this, really? Because SNA, everybody knows exactly what they want to do. They want to run in, take towers, get their level 6 on every single hero they possibly can, and then basically do these big pushes and take 1, maybe 2 towers every single time, and then start on the high ground. And Mongols, they're doing quite nicely themselves. They got this little, like, they are going tit for tat. They are losing towers on the bot because you just can't deal with this amount of push going on. But while that's happening, the Mongols actually take the mid. IX Mike once again in a bit of trouble. Sonke doesn't look like he can quite catch them both out, and now that Ush has hit level 6, the free farm on his life not going to be happening as much anymore. Sonke, he does have a magic wand. Is it going to save him? It looks like it might, and does disjoint that last hit, and it doesn't matter. 7 Eves is there just to clean up, and now Mongolz' lead, not as drastic as what I had originally thought.
Yep, Paxa needs to start pushing for towers as well. He's been trying, but it needs to be faster. Now he's gonna dominate a big creep and start stacking the ancients, I suppose. But
I guess, but I mean, he could just use that Hellbear.
He
could just use that Hellbear to take this tower fairly early, then go and use it to take those creeps. Storm now very far forward. SNA getting absolutely manhandled by these familiars, doing a lot of work. Big coil on 2. 7 Eves, getting a nice spin on Sonke. That Wrath of Nature almost able to finish him off. Just needs to try and hit Sonke one more time, but now Masquerade all over 7 Eves. Bry is right in the thick of things as well. Has the Serpent Wards available if anybody does get here. As actually doesn't want to cast it. Finally does. Can't quite trap Masquerade, but of course just barely within that sprout range as well. Sonke doing a lot of tricky finger work to try and get out of this one, and at the end of the day, 2 for 2, pretty even trade overall, but of course when you're up against a push-in lineup, you're gonna hurt real bad if you are down a few heroes. Nonetheless though, Serpent Wards has been used. Don't really have a follow-up, so this tier 2 actually, or tier 1 I should say, in the mid, still standing strong, and while that happened, you do have Paxa cleaning up top, getting that nice tier 1 for his troubles.
Yeah, he can't continue the push though. He doesn't have enough items. If a Storm Spirit TPs to tier 2, and have a few on TP directly behind him, it's gonna be easy kill, because he can't even afford to pop the Eclipse. As soon as the Treants come out, what's it gonna really do? Unless you get the ultra luckiest RNG.
Oh yeah, you become RNGesus, exactly, and then you just have the best of times no matter what happens. But let's be honest, the likelihood of that just incredibly low. And now when I thought Mongolz was, I mean, they were commanding this game, doing very nicely, kind of taking advantage of SNA's carelessness, which they seem to have tightened up nicely, and not giving up these easy and free kills anymore, especially that Ush has hit level 6. It seems like SNA now commanding how this game is being played, what fights they want to take. Huntsman now getting caught out by Bry. There isn't a Mass Serpent Ward available, however, and now SNA is here to throw in those big imps as well, and Storm able to get out of here. It looks like, no, let me just retract that. IX Mike coming in with a big sprout. 7 Eves able to come in and help polish him off. These familiars not quite able to save him, and now that thing that I was saying earlier where you lose a couple of heroes on your way away from a big mass of these pushers, you're gonna lose a tower as well. And it just seems like SNA, they don't even care that Pax has been farming all game, because unless she gets some sort of obscene amount of gold or farm or something like that. Oh, big engagement in the mid, however. Beautiful Dream Coil. Serpent Wards are down, however. IX Mike running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Doesn't seem to matter. These Serpent Wards are going to absolutely clean up instead, and with that, the Mongols not coming out too terrifically there. Luna finally does get in there, but it doesn't look like she could do quite enough right now. Now, however, you do have Sonke right in the thick of things, is able to take down a Bryce. 7 Eves in a bit of trouble. Familiar right on him. Storm himself in a bit of trouble as well. Do they have a way to actually polish him off? Not so much, and with the spin as well, can't do too much. Us trying to clean up does indeed. Huntsman now, as well as Sonke, going to be able to take him out. Oh, so close. He has just enough mana to get down there. These familiars just headhunting him. SNA trying very hard to save him, and of course juking around a little bit. Looks like, oh, the Wrath of Nature, just to guarantee that there is no follow-up, and SNA able to just save his buddy there as well.
I just feel like Taxa, he should have gone for a straight BKB. Just need to prepare to fight. His teammates, they need him in the midst of the fight. Even going for early, like what, treads drums, just to be able to tank up a little bit more and endure through those team fights. Very, very helpful. And plus, I mean, look at it. This is Sentry right here as well, so he's never gonna get any stacks. So it doesn't hurt to help your team, you know? Because if you can win the team fights, then essentially you're stalling what SNA plus 4 wants to do.
And of course, I just got to do a little shout out to the chat. Thank you, 250 viewers who are still with us. It's always much appreciated. A little bit unfortunate, I feel, though, that the finals of the whole tournament have the least amount of viewers. But as is the way when there's no betting going on, there are not as many viewers. And just for Oxen So Kawaii, here is the net worth for a little while, because I know you want to see that, my friend. As we say that, looks like might have the start of an engagement up top. Nice familiar stuns on 7 E's, but nothing too much coming from it. And as far as the net worth is concerned, since I did bring it up, obviously Luna is ahead, doesn't seem to really matter, and now we do have Storm setting up something that could be huge. 7 Eves though, Omni Slash available as soon as that's done. All he needs to do is find a single person. Finally does get one on Masquerade. Isn't the end of the world, however. Everybody actually melting from SNA. It looks like this Visage still, barely alive for the longest time there. But this mech now, Masquerade has one. I don't actually think SNA does, and that's going to be this big tide turner right now in this fight. Some nice body blocks coming out of Sonke right now. IX Mike in a heap of trouble. Looks like Ush trying his very best just to get out of here alive. Has one couple more ball lightnings available to him. Wants to make sure that he doesn't get ensnared down. SNA porting in. Not too sure what he's doing right there as well. And this is that carelessness that we saw earlier. Things just not working out too nicely for SNA plus 4 there. And if we look at, I just want to look at the items very quickly, see if they even have a mech. They actually do on IX Mike, but I guess just Masquerade using his a little bit better in that fight. And of course, that big ult coming out of Storm to set everything up really did turn the tide of basically this whole game, it feels like right now. However though, Ush right on top of him, seeing what he can do, finds whoever he can. Eclipse is used though, only actually was level 2, still not polishing as many people off as you would normally want, but Ush taking quite a bit of damage, having to get out of there, and 7 Eves with a spin, but nothing too much else. And Ush actually in a heap of trouble, falls for almost no reason, and it looks like SNA plus 4 coming apart at the seams a little bit right now.
Oh man, Sanki and his puck. Actually, I can't even say that. It's like, it feels like Mongolz, right? Whenever they have those smaller pickoffs ganks, they play so well, and they're so comfortable running these like Doxia, Vacuum into Dream Coil combos. They've been pulling them off consistently, and when they do that, it just feels like, wow, the team fight is really gonna go their way, especially if the Luna is around. Like we saw the difference of having that Luna in the team fight as opposed to just Luna farming off on her own, and I think they can continue to abuse while they're still in the lead. And IX Mike almost died right there.
Oh, Huntsman trying
really close.
So hard to find him. Can't quite get it, and then of course the imps there just to finish him off, and of course those familiars just not fast enough to take out IX Mike. Ever so sad for that Visage, but as is the way, a little bit unfortunate anyways.
Oh yeah, and this Enchantress going for a greedy build, so now they are prepared. What if they can't end the game, then they're prepared to drag it for longer.
Oh yeah, they have to be now, because I mean, it just looks like this is around the time when they really need or at least feel like they should start dominating. They should start Like, none of these tier 2s should be on the map right now as far as SNA is concerned, and it looks like they're still sticking to that mentality somewhat, but Storm Spirit, he's going for that Oblivion, or for that Orchid, obviously. SNA and Bri moving up top. So, I mean, they're still well on their way. They can transition into the late game fairly well if they need to, and Juggernaut is now getting closer and closer to an Ag, so they're on their way. They're not completely out of this game by any means, but Mongolz has put up a very, very strong anti-push, just playing crisply, very nicely, very cleanly, and just making sure that SNA +4 doesn't get any of that funny, cheesy 16-minute wins sort of thing happening on them.
Well, this Naga Siren seems to always be able to find his farm. Like, he has Tread's drums at like, what, 16-minute in? That's what you will have on, say, a mid-solo that hasn't been doing all that well. But the pushing power from SNA +4 it's so quick. And in terms of a base race, I have to give it to SNA +4.
Oh yeah, now that
It
Naga
seems like
Siren is
Storm's
in
caught out
a
of
bit
position.
of trouble, has to use that Song of the Siren. That's not at all how you want to use it. Seven Eves still has Omni Slash, only level 1, so sadly for him, but they now just need to see if they can basically re-engage the Mongolz. They do have pretty much everything available. Eclipse level 2 now as well, fairly scary to go up against. Visage is getting closer to those Ags. Oh no, IX Mike always on top of these couriers, pops the haste, can't quite get it out there fast enough. Not the fastest of fingers, now Huntsman in a bit of trouble himself. IX Mike not going to fall, obviously has the mech and Ush to follow up with it. And now this is the SNA that we know and love, constantly finding pickoffs, being, I don't want to say jerks, but being jerks a little bit and going around, finding whatever they can out of the entire map. Now, however, it looks like the start of a Roche fight. Storm, no ult available to do whatever he can. And Snare, obviously, going to put 7 Neves right there in it. Lucent Beam, all they need, excuse me, whew, my brain exploded for a second there. Whew, all they really need to do is just wait for that spin to die out, and a Lucent Beam will polish him off. And now it looks like, yeah, packs are going right back, trying to get this Roche now.
Oh, there's gonna be a contestation for the Roche. Everyone just wants it so bad.
I'm looking for a zip from Ush, see if he can't get that Aegis.
Oh, beautiful silence of Sankey.
Now with
That's
that,
unfortunate. He got instantly silenced up.
Pax gets the Aegis. IX Mike in a heap of trouble. This is just an action-packed game as far as kills are concerned. Bri in a little bit of trouble, knows that he shouldn't be here, and tries to get out of here. Indeed, just barely does. Pax looking for him with that Lucent Beam stun. And now with the Aegis, he's got BKB, still a completely fresh one. And the fact that Puck still has quite enough mana to do any big combo they want, and Dream Coil will be available. I thought they were going to definitely go in, maybe put a little pressure on them, but no, it doesn't look like they're actually going to pan that out. Storm caught out by Ush. Looks like this is going to be a guaranteed kill for Ush. Does pop the drums, but it's not going to be enough against a Storm Spirit, especially one who has haste.
So Storm starting like with the bad start that he had, he's already managed to catch up really efficiently. That's a good thing for SNA +4. Mongolz, they have to continue to play as 5 because of the nature of the lineup, whereas SNA +4, they'd be more than happy to split up, find small pickoffs, and then transition that into heavy pushing from all 3 lanes. Yeah, but this is the one hero that they won't be able to burst down in like small ganking skirmishes. IX Mike, oh, is he gonna be in trouble?
Very, very close. So close, actually, to being shown by that illusory orb. And if he had been, that probably would have been Dream Coil. Dream Coil silence just to make sure he doesn't get away. And I can't see him getting out of there. You might have been able to have Ush flying in through the back, throw a little bit of dissent in the ranks, and basically make sure that the Mongolz can't capitalize. But that's pretty wishful thinking, I think, when it comes down to it. Now, however, we do have a smoke gank. Bri really far forward. He knows it's coming, running for his life indeed. Sonke does find him. Bri not too sure what he can do. Sonke now right there. Nice, beautiful little phase shift plus waning rift. And now it looks like the tides have turned. Actually, Mongolz putting on the pressure onto SNA +4, oddly enough. And I just want to briefly, before you get to speak, I know you want to. Mongolz up 7,500 gold, 9,000 in experience. Go right ahead, Mito.
I just want to ping out 7 Eves. He's pushing, but it's not going to be fast enough. He has to come back to defend. IX Mike trying to do as much as he can at top, but Here comes that 5-man push. Oh, and they turn on the pipe with this creep wave as well. Oh, this is scary. What can SNA plus 4 do right now? Apart from throwing a couple of impetus. They're just gonna completely ignore the Enchantress over there and just take that tier 3.
And I mean, I think that's really the right way to play this anyways. In comes Ush, seeing if he can't find anybody. He does use his Orchid, but it's really more of a stalling tactic than anything. 7 Eves can't really even stay in there. Now getting ensnared as well, gonna be falling, and this, oh, not falling quite yet. There's the Omni Slash. Is he able to get out of here? Too many familiar stuns going that way. IX Mike now caught in a coil, as was that Shadow Shaman. Can't be doing too much. 3 kills, and now it looks like the Mongols, they have waited their time. They've bided their time long enough to become, I don't want to say unstoppable, but able to contend with the push lineup of SNA, and they're going to get a lane of racks. Ush now, he wants to come in here, clean up, but Soul Assumption absolutely destroys him right now. Is able to find a puck, but with no mana, that is a lot of heroes dead, and as far as buyback is concerned, only Nature's Prophet really has it available. Ush just buying back as well, and a simple Siren Song just to make sure everybody gets out of here scot-free. Paxa, though, the last one to leave, pops his Manta, just to make sure, see if he can't actually take down Ush, but with Bri there as well, the Aegis will pop. Gonna be difficult for them to actually take him down right now, considering he has an escort. Huntsman right now. IX Mike is here, however, continuing the fight. It looks like Ush having to run away from this Soul Assumption. Ooh, that is a lot of damage it can do. Not enough mana quite. Has just enough for a magic wand to pop it and do it, but is able to get Paxa out of there alive, and Luna is going to be running home with 3,600 gold in her pocket. It's going to be harder and harder for SNA to start to continue up their very pushy lineup right now.
Oh, wow! Like Mongols, they execute so well. There's nothing else to be said there. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, so the Mongols, I mean, basically flipping the flipping SNA's lineup on its head right now, and a lot of times you don't see this happen in, I don't want to say pro play, but just in general, is you see one team go for this kind of all-in push or a very kind of pockety strat, and for a team to adapt to how that's being played and change how they're playing it and doing all that sort of stuff is really goes to show you just how strong they are. And there you have it, Storm along with Masquerade able to find a pickoff, or actually just counter the pickoff that was going against Ush, and now that lead that Ush had, or I shouldn't say lead, that catch-up that he had, now starting to dwindle a little bit. This was a support Naga, and once again, she's well on her way to a Manta, going for that kind of pushy kind of strat. As that's happening, Paxa in a heap of trouble. Oh, ward trapped. He is not getting out of here alive, and the Manta illusion's just not going his way. Pops BKB incredibly late. If he had started with that, would have been able to get out of there pretty much scot-free, I feel. Sanke going to be able to clean up these wards, but it's not going to be enough.
Oh man, so if you were NA plus 4, what do you do now? Do you just pray that you're able to defend, and then with 1 racks down, abuse the power of the Nature's Prophet? But they are so behind, oh my god. And now there's a sheepstick on Sanke. His puck has been rolling, man. It's amazing the things he do.
Now, as far as buybacks are concerned, IX Mike, he does use that beautiful vacuum on a million, basically 3, however, and then Puck is right there, trying to make sure that SNA doesn't get any sort of cheeky little impetuses coming out. Nature's Prophet, IX Mike buys back immediately, the biggest zip right from the fountain from Ush coming in. Masquerade in a little bit of trouble. It doesn't look like he is in that much trouble. Needs only 6 more mana until he has that big mechanism, and that's going to make sure that his team comes out of this bot tower and high ground engagement taking the racks, and of course that is exactly how this is going to pan out. Looks like stalling as much as possible, and there's the GG coming out of SNA right away, and the disconnect as well. Looks like they want to get into this next game as fast as humanly possible, and for all you watching at home, we will be doing that right for you. So of course, the first game of the finals going the way of the Mongols. We should be having some more coming up. Thank you all for tuning in. I've been Briefcase along with my lovely and handsome co-caster Mito, and in the meantime, let's listen to some music as we just stall and pan and then eventually get into the next game.